Hello everyone, welcome back to Railway Cottage Studio. I have been waiting for my little pouch to dry. I made this little guy this morning from the pile of these funny hexagons that I picked up from Vinnie's yesterday. So I'm really thrilled with how it's turned out actually. I managed to make the whole thing just from hexagons and I've come up with a very, very basic pattern. If you are interested in making one for yourself, take a bit of a screenshot of that. It looks like a bit of a beehive. But I did mine a bit back to front because I was just trying to figure it out as I went. But if you actually sewed your hexagons together like this, you can create a pouch. So it takes 21 hexagons, and obviously you can change that to make it wider or fatter or shorter or whatever. And then these just all fold together, and I'll show you how that happens. So if you look at the front of the pouch here, you can see there's three basically across the front. That's these guys. They're like that. The only thing that was a bit tricky was the corners. So the corners at the bottom, I still used a whole hexagon, but all I did was, when I literally folded that up to the other side, the corner ones have to fold in. That's all. So they do that. So I did that first. I did that fold first. And then all I did was stitch up the side. And then if you have a look on the inside of here, I've just stitched that little hexagon onto the corner because why would you cut it off? So that worked out really, really well. So that goes like that. This folds, should be like that, kind of, by the way, like that, sorry, there it is. And then they just all stitch together. Too easy. So a very, very simple way to make a pouch out of hexagons. So the way that I did mine, I kind of did the rows across the front because I was trying to figure it out. But in future, I would just, do that. Sew that many hexagons together and then start at the bottom, turn it inside out and stitch them together. And it all just folds together perfectly. With my bit that folds down, I've done it so it sits up a little bit. It's not right in the middle, but you could also bring that all the way down here if you wanted to. Obviously, it's just personal preference. So that has actually come up really well. I've tea dyed it. It still does have all of these bits of zigzag that I don't like, but the borders have disappeared a lot with the tea dyeing. So I'm actually going to do some slow stitching on it, and as I go, I'm going to pull out the zigzag. I think. I don't know if I can live with it, but I'll see how I go. So I've just been pulling out some bits and pieces, and I've got this little beautiful bit of red work that Mum did years ago on a quilt. So I'm going to start with that. This is off the tablecloth that I got yesterday at Vinnie's. I also tea dyed it, the Italian tablecloth. So these beautiful roses and lemons, bits and pieces. So time to just have a play. And the good thing is, because these are the quilt as you go, or sometimes it's called the pot holder method when you're making something little like this. It has several layers, so when I'm slow stitching, I can just slow stitch into the top layer and you won't see any of it on the back. So, starting with birds, that tends to be a bit of a theme, doesn't it? Birds and boats. I'm just going to check where my flap is. There. I think I'm just going to do a bit of pin a few bits on and then stitch as I go. And I wanted to find, oh, there's a little doily. Just one of these beautiful dyed smaller doilies. I think I need to, excellent. And these aren't fabrics that I would normally choose, but you know what, when it's scrappy, it just works, doesn't it? And the tea dyeing has made it all just work together as well. My pool fence today just looks, it's covered in things. Tea dyeing. These are some of the trims that I tea dyed last time. I did a bit of a batch. I do tend to do a whole heap when I do a bit. Do I want to see the bottom? I think I'm just going to hang him over a bit like that. So we're on weather watch here. I've just seen some forecast for tornadoes down near Allara, which is southwest of us, sorry, here. So that's a horrible experience. I hope those people are all right down there. I'm already liking it more. Isn't this beautiful? This was this funny, it was like a pale yellow trim that I picked up, and I just love it. And it tea-dyed so beautifully. There's my washing machine in the background. Jeff's just gone to Woolies because the minute there's a storm warning, every Queensland supermarket empties of everything. Known to man. Not loving that. There it is now. What about a bit of my... Need to cut a bit of that off, don't I? That's better. So just creating for the heck of it today. No big project. Again, just started a whole new project when I was supposed to come down here and finish some of the projects I'm already working on, but yes, you've got to go with the flow, hey? Okay, that's good. Now perhaps this is some more of the red work, so I might just... Isn't this a lovely little trim? I think this is from the sewing basket in Sydney, where I got some beautiful trims. Which side do I like? Oh, I think I like the other side. So I did think about going along and, you know, taking the zigzag stitching out, except that would mean that I'd have to stitch down because that's the only thing holding these on. I did one and it took forever. So I figure what I'll do is I'll do all my slow stitching and then work backwards where it's already stitched, being held in place because of something that I've done. I won't have to do it, but then I can just fill in the gaps, if you know what I mean. Let's have a look at the back. We could do a big feature here of him. What do you think? I just need to have a look at the tea towel and see which direction this is in. I can't remember which is the right way up. Hold up. Where did I put you, mister? Here he is. Oh, I can't find it. Where did I put it? Just looking for, here it is, the tea towel. I tea-dyed half of this tea towel and not the other half. So that's the original colour that it was. I'm just trying to figure out which is the up for this. Yeah, it would have been that way in a corner. Okay. You can see the difference that tea dye makes, but I think I went through and pretty much tea dye half of everything to give me a few options. I think I want to just get rid of my half one here. Just like that. And if I just get rid of you down here, it'll be the right length, hey? So all those gardeners out there in Allara and Clifton, I hope you are okay. There we go, that's good. Oh, and then I end up with that bit, which is even better. So when I'm trimming these, I'm just trying to make sure they don't have any sharp corners. I'm not worried about being close or anything like that. Okay, that's it. Sometimes it takes a minute, hey? And see, I've saved pulling all these off because I don't need to, you won't see them. You don't see them on the other side, so who wants to do boring sewing? Like unpicking things. Alrighty, so that's looking great. A little bit of rose to put somewhere else on this side. Or maybe I don't. Look how gorgeous the lemons came out. They're gorgeous. Do I want the rose or the lemons? Let's look. I might save the lemons for another one. So I've got quite a few of these little hexagons. And what else do I want? No. Maybe just a touch of this here. Whenever I find this type of trim, I always buy as much as I can afford because I just use it all the time and I love it. Tea dyes beautifully. So initially I thought I was looking at making pouches, hexagon pouches for Christmas presents for my colleagues. So that's how this started. So I don't feel so bad about starting something new. But now that I've gone off on my slow stitch quest, like I do, I tend to make quite simple things for people because not everyone loves the craziness that is slow stitching. Now I have some of this that's tea dyeing. It's not quite dry. And I tea dyed some of these today. Look, didn't that come up nicely? So it's a bit Christmassy, look. Save that for something for Christmas. This, I like how this came up uneven. I should have done a bit more colour in that though. The same with this, it's too neat, too even. I might have to get a bit of ink on it, I think. All right, let's have a look. What else do I want to put on here? I think I'm done with trims for the time being. I'm going to pop those trims away. I might find... Nope. Isn't that gorgeous? Look. These are the last two bits of a very beautiful doily that I had. It was from one of my aunties. But that's not working for me just now. It's my little basket of treasures. So I spent probably 2 hours this morning just tidying and sorting. I had a few big things come in and I kind of just put them on the floor. And it's funny, isn't it, when you're not spending a lot of time, it takes you a while to get going again. So it's taken me a bit of a while to get my head back in the game and get into being creative, which is why it's so important to have a practice where you're doing a little bit every day. Really super important. Okay. They're all a bit little. Let's see what's in here. So a lot of this stuff is stuff for my ABC book, so I'll put that aside. Just going to step over and get my other mood tray, project tray. This was that funny little orange serviette that I tea dyed. It came out really well. It feels like it's got a bit of polyester in it, but for the sort of things I'm doing, that's fine. So I've got a bit of ticking here. These are all those tumbling blocks. What can I find that I want to use? I'm looking at that thinking there's no green. I need a bit of green perhaps. Let's find some green. There's a lot of ticking. Let's put the ticking pile out. Green. Just looking for some little offcuts of green. There's some green. I might just do some little patches of green. Oh, and there's that beautiful green. It's also coming to the end of its life. Not much left. Although there's another sneaky bit. Quite like the, don't know, there's a lot of, because obviously it's full of hexagons, it's very, lots of geometric shapes, so I don't know if I want to add to that or disperse it a bit. So isn't that a nice colour to bring it down a bit? And I have these beautiful bits that Mum gave me, I might even use them. Brown, You can see what's happening now is I'm getting all the browns. So I went looking for green. What a difference it makes being down here with an air conditioner on. Normally by this time of year I would have been a refugee upstairs with a very sad little basket on my lap, being miserable. So the addition of an aircon this year has made a massive difference. Very lucky, very, very lucky. Just having a dig through my basket. I'm not finding a lot of things that are inspiring me. Let's have a look over here. These are funny. Let's just start with what I've grabbed. Let's stop looking for a minute. Sometimes you just got to make a choice. See how I've kind of lent to these kind of colours, haven't I? Browns and cheddars and a bit of green. So let's just see what we can get out of here. And I have that dress to pull out too. Actually, let it go. I'll find that in a minute. So this is fabulous. I'm definitely going to add some of new. Now just thinking about how I'm going to add some fabrics. Let's start on this side. Again, don't overthink it. Let's just cut some fabric, tear some fabric, and right, break up the background a bit. Excellent. So I'm going to add a couple of pieces on each side. So if I'm choosing a colour, choosing a fabric, I'm going to try and add a little bit, put a little bit to go on the other side. Just go there. I'm just going to leave them there if I've chosen them. Okay. Now this gorgeous, gorgeous green. I'll just put all of that together for a minute. Oh yes, there's a flower. And here, this is what I was after. It's my new thongs creaking, in case you're wondering. Came up thongs, sorry. So I don't like that so much. You're just going to have a play with some patches. Let's just do some patching. A little bit of patching with some greens. Some beautiful repro fabrics. Awesome, that looks good. Happy with that. Put that there. A lot of too big is the problem. It's too big. Again, I'm not going to overthink it. If I'm happy, I'm going to put it on and stitch it down and not be tempted to try and find something better. And again, this is purely taste. You could just leave your pouch as it is, but it needs a bit of something. Green and brown to bring it all down on this side. Now I have, let me just find that fabric. It's a dress that belonged to my aunt Norma. And she hand embroidered all of this. So have a look at this. And this is what's left because she had done every sleeve of this. And I have used every single thing from it. There is not one thing that has gone in the bin. These beautiful bows. So I might just cut myself a chunk and we'll work backwards rather than try and guess what I would like to use from it. So let's just go big. Around here. This feels like a gabardine. Should have been right because it was the Let me think about it. Mum was born 1947, and I think only Brenda was 16 years older. So there you go. Very old. Early 1930s. Okay, so let's see what I want from you. Let's cut a few of these little guys out. And they're still as good as the day they were done. Good job, Auntie Norma. I'm going to try and get this bow. Just the bow. Stay there, I'm coming through. Again, I could use smaller scissors, but I actually find it easier with bigger scissors. So while Gary has been hanging on the wall, and Gary's a quilt that I've just been working on with my mum. It's a reproduction quilt from a picture we found in a magazine while we were away, an old magazine. I don't like his borders, so the borders are coming off, people. I'm done. Even though we stuck to the colours scheme as in the picture, and I really like it, the one in the picture, it's not working for me. So Gary is going to lose his borders, and I need to rethink that whole thing. I tried to like it because I really don't want to unpick the borders, but I just don't like it. I like his sashings, but even though the colours are pretty much on point with what I copied, I don't have enough cheddar in my quilt for the teal to work. Alright, what have I got? One of those. So I'm probably going to add, what can I put this with? Let's see. If I put it, see how that's kind of one thing. That's kind of one thing. I might cut that out as one thing. A lot of work. So the hemline of this was extraordinary, and I've used every inch of it. A lot of it's in Home is Where Your Heart Is. Home is Where the Heart Is quilt, because it was just fabulous. God knows how long it took her to do. Alright, I'm just going to get a little pile of these here. And one for good luck. I think I want the big random egg. Let's do this kind of as one. Can you see? I'm just gonna, like a little spray. Oopsie daisy. I'm not going to do a lot of stuff on here, and you might already be going, you've already done a lot, but I'm not going to do a lot of stuff on here. I'm going to do just enough to make it interesting without making it a massive project. Let's put some green on. Green with a little bit of cream, I like that a lot. And then I want to put a bit of this reproduction red to bring the red in. Okay, let's see where we're up to. So I need to pull this over here. It's not working for me, but that one is. I'm going to pin that on. So I haven't really decided how I'm going to sew them on yet. I'm just getting some colours in places that I like. And then I'll have a think about whether I'm going to do these as little patches, or whether I'm going to needle turn applique, or whether I'm going to applique shape over the top of them. See, that's enough. I have enough on there now. I reckon if I just run a little line of that teeny tiny one here. See, I don't want to though, because I've got that line. That's fine. Yeah, that's good. So that's good. That's all I'm going to put onto there. Let's pop you down. So I need a little thing on here. I got this little guy. Nope. What about you? Okay, let's put him there. This is from a sampler that I got in barrel. Push in there. There we go. Okay, so that's pretty much, I think, all that I'm going to put on the front. And I may trace and applique something directly onto the some of these little hexagons later. Not yet. And actually the back I love because it's got a bit more red and things on it, I think. Makes it a bit easier to live with. So let's have a look. Actually, do I want this? Do I want it under? I don't think I do. Do I want it under? I don't think it's the right shape. Is it even? No. I'm just looking at that through my mirror. Let me just give you a bit of room so you can see what I'm doing. Let's move everything away a bit. Okay. Let's just tidy up a bit, Karen. I've got stuff everywhere. Let's get them a little bit. So I don't want them. I want them. Put my scissors where they're supposed to be. And then have a look. Okay. Or, no, I don't know. What do you think? Let's have another look. Or do I want a corner? See, if I had a corner, if I had a doily that had a good corner. Let me just try something. Hang on a tick. Let's try. I'm going to find something square just to try something. Just grab a square doily out of here. Not because it's going to be the right doily, but just to try something. Just to see if this shape would work. Can you see what I'm trying to do? When I put another hexagon there, I didn't like it. I'll show you what it looked like. Let me grab up. So this is the rest of the hexagons that were finished that I've tea dyed. Look, they're all in here. So I have this little lovely little stash. So you can see it came to, it was a funny shape. I didn't like it. I liked that. But now that I'm looking at that, do I want, and I wouldn't see those. No, I don't think so. Just off on a tangent there for a minute. Ignore that. So I think I'm happy with that. I do need something here, but I don't know what that is yet. So let's just turn you over. I'm loving the red of the rose. I could just, let's just put you here so you don't disappear on me. Do I just want to layer that under there? That's quite good. What if I lost all of the yellow, some of the blue? Meh, doesn't matter. I'm glad I didn't just take all those stitches out though, hey? Because don't need to. Okay, let's have a look through the mirror, through the camera. That's better, or that? Actually, I prefer that. So let's go back to that. That's there. Oh, I've got these two bits of red work that came off the same piece. That works. What do you think? Yeah, that came off the same piece as the birds. Is my husband back? Wouldn't surprise me if Woolies was empty of everything, because when you live in, again, regional parts of the state and we have weather events, quite often we don't get anything delivered for a long time, which means that our Woolies and our, can just literally have nothing. So people tend to panic buy. But from what I can see, this is a weather event that's going to be a day, it's not a cyclone. We're not even in cyclone season yet. Okay, that's good. I think I'd like something here, but that was too much. It was too big a thing. So I might just get this down. Let me put this away. I'm trying to put away as I go, because otherwise I end up with stuff everywhere. So these are just some coloured crochet doilies that I have. I was just going to pull out that. So I quite liked the green under there. Let's have a look what greens I have. Green or yellow. And there's a bit of, that's a good green, isn't it? What is lady? Let's see if that works. I can see it in my mind. Inadvertently gone to Christmas colours. What does that look like if I just have an edge of that underneath? I don't mind the dark green. What do you think? How about I just cut a bit off and we try it? The thing is, if you've got these lovely curved crochet doilies, it means you can do really good curves. They're good at bending. So I'm just trying to just see a little teeny bit of it, teeny tiny bit. Tuck him up under there. What do you think about that? Let me just lift that bit up. And I think that is going to be okay. So I can just kind of place it so I have a little bit of an edge, that's all. Pull that up through there. Did I catch it? I don't think I even actually got the fabric then. Hold on. Okay, one. Okay, to there. That's the key. There's a bit under. Did I say that down? No. Awesome. That's good. And then this little guy is going to run across. Actually, I don't want to lose that bit of rose there. I might have to pull the whole thing just down a bit. After I've just pinned it, of course. Let's see. And pull you down just a bit. Let's tuck you out there. All of that should be okay to stay. Again, sorry, squeaky shoes. And just a little tiny edge of green. True green. I call that like green. Right, that's good. Let's see now if I can. A bit like that. Hopefully then that'll allow me to still see all of this lovely rose at the top here. Yeah, that's better. Awesome. Okay, is that okay? Through there. How's that looking? Okay, I like that a lot. That's good. And I might just for now leave it at that, and then I will wait for inspiration to strike. I do have these beautiful bits and pieces of this very beautiful old vintage curtain still here, as well as bits of Norma's dress. I have a couple of offcuts of, I think that's a dove, I'm not sure what he is. He might actually look quite good there. I'm not sure. Got a couple of little things to hang around with, but I think I might just start stitching and go from there. So let me just, again, I've made a point, I'm going to put things away so I don't get overwhelmed with stuff everywhere. So 2 minutes, put everything back, and then it gives me a bit of workspace too. And you can go over there. That's much better. Much better. Okay, got a random monkey. Oh, that's cool. Doesn't everyone need a random monkey? I'm just going to put these laces that I don't want away. Lace basket, lace suitcase. And right, a few things that I think I still might use. I'm just going to put up here in a pile out of my road. It's very Australian, isn't it? Get out of my road. Right, cleaned up, done. Let's do some stitching. So I've got a few, look at this little colour, I got that yesterday at the same op shop. I got a couple of cool colours. And then Naira, I bought some things from Naira and she sent me this gorgeous, as a freebie, thanks Naira, gorgeous variegated orange. So he's going to get it home somewhere too. Let's start with stitching on the birds. Hey, got this lovely piece ready to go. So yes, it's taken me a while to get going today, and that's because I haven't been down here. I hate that. I hate it. So hopefully the next few weeks will be a bit calmer. So I'm just going to start with my knot under the bottom here. And I'm pretty much just going to stitch around the outside. So I might pop in the middle. Do you think this will fit? Let's try it. I have a little board that was from when I did Corinne's retreat. I might just open it up and pop this in the middle so that I don't inadvertently stitch everything together, which is a possibility. Ha, look at that. Note to self, make everything the right width. So I've actually pinned through there for something. Must be that, is it? Yep. And that, clearly. Because it will not go any further than that one. Alright, so I'll go with what's there. New on there now that I've got something to push against. That's good. Makes it a lot easier. Although it's still not letting me go right to the bottom, so I've got a pin through both sides somewhere. So I'm literally going to just stitch. And I want to stitch through only the top layer because it has a little backing on it. So I'm just going to take a bit of time to make sure that I am doing that. And I might have to take that out, which seems to be a shame. I might have to put my hand in. Alright, when in doubt, stick your hand in there, hey. Let's just go, just so I can make sure that I'm not actually going through to the back. Well, having said that, for this part of it, it probably wouldn't matter because you can't see, but I don't want stuff getting caught on it. And this fabric is really, really tightly woven. I can feel it, and then I can feel just dropping one layer. And here it is. Alright, nice. So I'm going to try and restrict myself to not go crazy on this one. Just try and keep it reasonably simple. Okay. So this was one of the first things my mum ever made, I think. Because I think she learnt after she'd used the wrong fabric or the wrong something or other. Because this might well have some polyester in it. Which, you know, doesn't matter to me, but in the quilting world, it means that when you wash stuff, it shrinks and changes the size at different rates and what have you. Apparently, it's a big deal. But here it is now, what, 30 years, no longer, 30 years later, finding a new home in this lovely little pouch. Whoa, go on, go through there. So again, because I am covering a lot of these hexagon edges up, I'm not going to spend time taking the stitching out. If you can't see it, why would I do that? That's crazy. So I'm going to stitch on first and then see what I don't like, and then I'm going to remove that, basically. So here. So far I seem to be just stitching on the edges because it's really hard. Just slowly so I don't get a knot. I love it already. Let's go down here. Now I've got the feel of it, I should be able to do that without having to put my hand inside. Okay. Just caught my pin, of course. There we go, push that through there. I do have long pins. These are dressmaker pins, I think, but I like them because they cover a big area. You can make it really really strongly pinned down. There we go. You can hear the little bloop as I drop the backing. That was a bit big. Anyway. I saw Dawn at Dawn's art room. She is using some of, I was watching her videos last night, and she's been using the Inktense, the blocks actually. I bought the pencils recently, which was new to me and exciting, but she has been using the blocks and obviously has been doing it for some time, and she did some beautiful painting of a like poinsettia flower for a Christmas runner. So I'm sorry about the door upstairs, it's just everyone going in and out. Sorry, just fiddling with. Now I took the pin out of here, didn't I? So let me just pin it back on. So because I don't want to go over the red, so I'm just going to go along it here and then under, just like that. So this is something you could do before you sewed your bits together. If you were really organised, you could kind of cut it out, know where your front's going to be, and it would be a lot easier because you could access both sides. Now, it hasn't gone all the way down because in my true style, obviously my stitching has narrowed, so I'm just going to put my hand in for the bottom bit. Sometimes they're so slippery, aren't they, these needles? Let me grab one of these, put that on my thumb, and that will help me, not that one, that will help me to grip. There we go. And I seem to be only sewing through where they join. You'd swear it's so stiff. So thick. There we go. Surely there's some fabric in there somewhere. Okie dokie, that's better. So what do you have planned for the weekend? It's Saturday now, Saturday afternoon, and as I said, my husband's all his sport's been cancelled, so he's home. Normally he'd be at rugby, and so it's a very much a quiet weekend, hanging out. So I'm just going to pause. What? Oh, back again. Sorry, looking for car keys. Yeah. So yes, as I was saying, very quiet weekend. Very quiet weekend planned, and that works for me because I can just spend as much time as I can down here. So I'm hoping to get this little guy finished today, and then I'm going to get, and you know, it just seems like they're never ending, but I'm going to finish Home is Where the Heart Is. I'm going to get up on the table, so the last panels together. I only have one more to sew. I've got 6 panels are sewn together, and then I have in the last row, which is a row of 3, 2 of them are sewn together. So it's just the final panel to be sewn onto that, and then the bottom row to be sewn on, and then that top is finished. And I can have a think about what backing I would like, and move that whole project to upstairs for the lap time. See if I can do that at night time and get it finished. It's a bit hard though. That's one of those things you kind of have to quilt it over a table, because it's make sure you don't get any big puckers, or because it's got so much stuff on it. Alright, now I've gone all the way around the edge of my little red work birds. I haven't stitched anything in the middle yet, and I will, because otherwise it's all a bit funny. But that looks really cute. I'm really happy with that. So I still have thread. I'm just, yeah, missed a little gap here. I'm just going to go up a bit further and do a stitch. So I'm going to continue up with some stitching onto this guy. I'm going to go through the gaps and come here. So let me just have a look. I'm pretty much just going to do some straight stitching around the outside of him. Not too big, he's quite a fine fabric. And then my inner voice is telling me to use some brown threads. Here we go. So this should be quite quick, really. My slow stitching is quick. So I haven't counted how many more of these I have, because I think I worked out, is it 20, how many do you need? 21? What did I say? 21 hexagons to make a pouch. To make a pouch that shape anyway. Probably adjust that. I'm happy with that for now. So I'm going to move over to here. I'm just going to tie that off by doing some little back stitches under there. Again, world's biggest scissors. I'm going to leave these bits for now, because I think I'm going to just do big brown whip stitches around the edge, or big cream whip stitches around the edge. I wonder if that's thick enough. I quite like, I've been really liking, where's my brown, where's my creams? I'm really liking, where's the colour? I'm really liking this colour, which is really odd, because when you first look at this, I wouldn't have thought I do, but when it's on, I'm really liking that one. But I might just use that beautiful golden brown, or else a dark one. I'll have a think about that. But first, I'm going to stitch some more of this trim on and make sure it's not all floppy. So I'm going to go back under here. Check I haven't just stitched through the two sides yet. Back under here and along here. And again, just stitching everything in place, and then I will decide what else is going on, and if I need and I'm sure I'll go back and do some more stitching. Sorry, my fingers look dirty, but it's just from tea dyeing. Just trying to get in before the rain, so everything was dry. I've got a couple of blankets to wash, but they're going to have to wait now. There's nothing worse than a blanket that has to dry over a couple of days. It gets that wet doggy smell. I'm going to go into the corner. Just going to do that and take the top load. Okay, up through there. And I'm going to just go around the edge of this little doily, and then that will tack that in place. And I won't have it flopping around on me. Again, just making sure I don't go through both sides. How gorgeous is red work? There's just something about it, isn't there? Today I traced some beautiful old vintage, and they're free, copyright free ones that I've downloaded, patterns onto some old vintage linen that I'm going to do in red work. I've done a little bit more embroidery this year, so I'm really bad at it because again I've not learnt anything, I've just had a crack, and I'm sure there's some pretty important techniques that I've missed along the way, but luckily I quite like it. Let's call it naive. I remember Mum had spent a lot of time making a sampler, a copy of a really old beautiful child sampler, and it, you know, had been done by a 7-year-old child in 1822 or something, and she'd spent all this time, and then one of her friends said, who didn't understand what it was, said, oh, you know, don't worry, Rhonda, you'll get better at it. Oh, no, it's supposed to look like that. Once everything's tacked on like this as well, or it's stitched on, not tacked, like they're permanent stitches, it means I can also get rid of annoying pins. So I'm really happy with these little hexagons. Initially when I was looking at the fabrics, I was thinking, oh, you know, it just goes to show you a bit of tea dyeing, a bit of slow stitching, a bit of make, do and mend, a bit of creative spirit. Oh, sometimes it does not want to go through. So I think Jeff is in the process of moving our cars undercover because there's hail coming. So I picked my roses today because if there is hail, they will be decimated. It's very early in the season for us to be having hail. So I think I'm going to, with this guy, I'm just going to do a whip stitch with this cotton. Let's just see if that actually works for starters, because it's quite a open weave. See how sometimes it just disappears into it? I think that'll be alright. Just have to make sure they go in far enough that they're not going to be lost in the fraying. You do a lot more stitching when you do the whip stitch rather than a straight stitch, but it looks great. Pins. Just pin that back on. Okay. What do you think? It's coming along. So I've just added some very, very simple elements, some offcuts of tea towels, some little offcuts of fabric. I was just after specific colours to kind of balance everything a little bit, because it was genuinely put together randomly, like literally I didn't look, I just chose the next hexagon, which can be really effective. But a lot of the fabrics are fabrics that I didn't particularly like, so I needed to make it so I could like it again. Through there. There we go. I'm going to have a sore thumb after this, I can tell you. Right, here we go. So I'm just going to include this little doily in the stitches, and then, you know, that'll be well and truly stitched down by the time I get all the way around my little roses. So this was all part of that $6 pack from Vinnie's yesterday, so it's actually been really good. I tea-dyed the whole pack basically. There was probably one or two things. There was two little serviette things that were just, one was black and one was like a kind of blue aqua colour. But other than that, everything else was something that I could use. So, you know, that was a good score. Go Vinnie's, doing the slow stitch packs. And again, my fingers are very stained from tea. Bit of tannin. Just going to stitch that here and stitch him off. Right, and throat. Like I've been a smoker all my life with tannin nicotine fingers, but it's just tea. I'm just going to cut my tail off so I don't have so much to hide. Back under here. Start about there, I think. Yeah, it just disappears then, that's awesome. I quite like whip stitch, but I get a bit bored doing it because it takes a while, you know. When I'm doing a video rather than listening to a story, I do find it a bit of a challenge. But we're nearly there. Well, we're not. We're about a third of the way, I think. So this little doily and this rose were out of the pack from Vinnie's. As I said, I think I tea-dyed the whole lot, apart from one black tea towel, which I'm actually just going to use as a tea towel in my kitchen. I'm just trying to make sure that my needle goes far enough in that it does stop, you know, I mean, I like the fraying, but I don't want it to fall off. So there's a fine line. There's a fine line between fraying and actually coming off the piece. So I'm just making sure I go deep enough to catch some fabric that's still woven well. And then that should also reinforce it and help keep it in place so it doesn't fall apart. So that's the plan anyway. There we go. How's that looking? So that's just a thread. Pull that off. That's good. I like how when you stitch on top of these types of doilies, you get that real bumpy look. I really like that. Kind of looks quilted, doesn't it? Alright, I think I might pretty much do around here. And I might leave you be and do all the rest of the boring stitching and come back once everything that I have pinned on is stitched. So you can hang with me while we decide what to do next. So I hope wherever you are, you're out of the storms. I hope you are having, or I hope you're tucked up tight. My mum has medicated her dog as she has to. Her dog absolutely loses his mind in a storm. We have two dogs. We have a golden retriever and a little crossbreed, and they both couldn't care less, thankfully. So thankfully we don't have to worry about that. It's funny how some dogs are terrified of storms. my golden retriever will literally go and stand in the middle of it. You just got to make sure she's not wandering out into the yard during all the lightning. So I'm going to leave that there. Oh, sorry, just whacked you. This is how we're looking. So that's going there with no pin. Hang on. Pin you there. So this is going to be my front. And again, I need something there. I don't know what it is yet. But I'm happy with the balance of colours. That looks really good. And my back is going to be significantly green and red, clearly. There we go. Just going to put a pin down here because for some reason I didn't. Maybe it fell out. Awesome. So that's my back so far. And I'm sure I'll put something over here, but not too much. I'm actually not going to go too crazy. And I'm loving it so far. So thanks so much for popping in. I hope you've got something exciting that you're working on, and I'll see you soon.